Ladies and gentlemen, in this episode of continuing the construction of my survival kingdom of Ventia, I plan to build a dockside tavern where this wooden building currently stands. Additionally, I'd like to make some more progress building the medieval town we've been working on for the past couple episodes. I'm personally super excited to see what the kingdom's gonna look like with the valley fully covered in these houses I've planned out, so expect me to make hasty progress in the area in the coming videos. And good folks of the internet, I've got a big episode planned for you guys today. And at the time of recording this video, I did a live stream yesterday where I got a lot of terraforming done. So I would like to show you guys exactly what I ended up doing. So without any further ado, let's get into it with that intro time lapse. During the live stream, I decided to get a lot of texturing of the mountain done, and started with the mountain that the castle's standing on, and eventually I want to cover the entire mountain with this variation, which is going to take forever, but I think it's going to be worth it in the end. After doing some work on the castle, I decided it was too big an area to tackle at once on stream, so I moved over to a smaller cliff face on the other side of the valley by the monastery, and I have to say that this combination of transitioning from the grass to the acacia logs using green terracotta is looking amazing. And for the sheer stone parts, I used andesite to mix it up a little bit, and in the end, I think it all came out superbly. I mean, just take a look at this part of the mountain that's been detailed and look at the rest of the stone. Honestly, I think it makes all the difference in the world, and we need to do more of this. So I'm gonna make sure to do way more of this detailing in the future whenever I get the time. But for right now, I think it's time to hop back into first-person mode and get on with the episode. So guys, I will see you on the other side. Alright guys, you are now all caught up on what happened during the stream, and I have to just say a big thank you to everyone who hangs out on stream. It's such a good time, and it's really awesome for me to just be able to build and have you guys around, but look at how great this looks right now. I mean, compare this to this right here, and we have a lot of work to do. So expect a lot of these mountains to change up and look a lot more like this in the coming episodes. That is going to be amazing. And as I predicted, the most painful part about it is to farm the wood for it. Acacia is not exactly the easiest wood to farm, but I've been using the good old TNT method of just growing all the trees together like this, shearing them, and then blowing them up. It's actually a pretty quick method, and I think we have someone over here who's really excited to do some blowing up for us. Oh gosh, okay. Not today, creeper. If I blow up my forest, it's gotta be on my terms and my terms only. But listen up, my fellow law-abiding citizens, we're not here to collect wood, we're here to do some building. And in today's episode, as I was talking about in the intro right then, is I want to build a tavern right here by the docks. And I told you guys earlier that this house has been irking me with its existence for a long time now, and I want something that fits in a little bit better. So this is exactly where we're gonna build our tavern. Yeah, I know, kitty, I'm excited too. Hey, where were you when I was fighting that creeper? Yeah, I thought so. But anyway, if we're gonna get to building over here, of course, we need to demolish this current house. So let's get our trusty tools out and do some good old tearing down. Alright, it is a few days later, and as you can see, I've been doing some work over here planning out what our structure is going to look like. And one of the big problems I'm going to run into that you can clearly see right here is that the pathway is going straight through the main house of this building. So I had to do a little bit of planning around that. Originally, I wanted to have an outdoor seating area for my tavern so that you could look out over this place. But what I've realized is if I did that, there's no way to get through here over to the lighthouse. So I had to get creative, and the solution I came up with is that we're going to be raising up the seating area and have this sort of tunnel area. You walk through here, and luckily we can just connect the path over to this section over here. So this really shouldn't be a problem, and really all we need to do now is collect materials for this inn/tavern I'm going to be building. And one of the main considerations I've had for this is all the roof colors that we have so far, and honestly, I'd like to add another one to the mix. So far, we've used 4 different roof colors. We've used this cyan, the gray over by the milling village, and then we've used purple, and of course the brick that we use almost everywhere. And one that stood out to me that sits in between these 2 colors pretty much is nether bricks. So I'd like to go get some if I can, and I should think that I have tons and tons of nether bricks over by the bartering farm, since that's one of the drops you get. So let's go get that stuff. Coming down here into the bartering farm, we should have tons and tons of nether bricks like this. Yes, so I'll just grab all of this and be back with you guys. Okay, so I grabbed what I consider an adequate amount of nether bricks. This should do us just fine. So let me collect the remaining materials and let's get to some building. All right, people, I have gathered up all the necessary materials. I think if there's anything I need, it should be in my giant mess of shulker boxes on the other side of this cliff. But without any further ado, I think it's time to get going with this time lapse. I'm excited to start building, so let's roll that time lapse. Oh yeah. Starting us off here, I decided to make it a little bit easier for myself to visualize everything and put in the path first. Then, as you can see here, I began to lay out the outdoor seating area for the bar, which is going to be up on this terrace here. And I did a little bit of a fly through here in the edit just to give you guys an idea of what it's going to look like in the end. I think it came out pretty cool. And it's not going to be completely obvious until I put in the roof here with all the lanterns and the seating area, but I did take a lot of inspiration from bars in the town where I live. I do want this to be very recognizable as a tavern. Moving on here to the main structure, it actually doubles up as an inn as well as a tavern. So I needed a fair amount of space in this building to be able to make some rooms for the inn. And for the exterior here, I went for some stripped jungle and dark oak logs because I think they go really well together, and especially with the nether brick roof we're putting in later. And speaking of the roof here, I went with an interesting design that felt very inn-like, if that's even a word. I basically made the normal A-frame I've been going for with the 2-block steep angle, and then gradually sloped it down over top of the bar. I don't know why, it just felt very fantasy inn to me. And in the back here, I added a tower really just so that I would have a good way to put a staircase into the building. And of course, you can't forget the warp trapdoors that I've pretty much been using everywhere. I love them so much, but I did feel it was a little bit empty looking on this sloped part, so I decided to add a little balcony section with another A-frame connecting up to the top of the roof. And I feel like that's what pretty much made the whole build come together. So without any further ado, let's hop into first person and check this out. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, it is nighttime here in Ventia, but I really just wanted to show you guys what it looks like while the stars and moon are out. Doesn't that just look awesome with all those lanterns? Honestly, I'm super happy with how this came out, and I think we should check it out, but it should probably be daytime so we can see what's going on better. Alright, dawn has broken. We've got the lovely morning sun up on the monastery. That's actually looking great. And before I show you guys the building here, I gotta show you what I did with the greenery around here. I pretty much just spread this palette of greenery around the area a lot. So this is what the path is looking like currently. We do have a way to get into the reception area right here, and then we've got some greenery on the sides. And I decided to put a ton of greenery on the sides of these houses right here, make it fairly overgrown. And the only area I didn't make overgrown is right here. I think we're gonna add a tree right here. If you guys have any better ideas than just a tree in this sort of back area, that would be great, but tree, as always, is a great backup option. And if we quickly continue down this way, I did lush a few of these areas up a lot more so that this place is looking a little bit more alive and lived in. But if we do head back towards the inn, we have the main entrance right here. Ooh, and I do need to give it a name. Hold on. The Ventian. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit of a pun, but I feel like it fits very, very well. If you guys have a better name, go ahead and suggest it down below, but honestly, I think that's right on the money. And if we take a quick look to our left here, we do have an epic sight line where we see the church right through this path as we're walking down it. That looks great. You get a pretty good view if you're the guy working the crane, that's for sure. But if we head inside the inn right here, I made a little reception area right here. And with the shaders on, the painting looks a little bit strange, but but this is where you would book your room for the night. Overall, I didn't go with anything super fancy for the reception area right here, but I think it came out pretty cool. And if we move up the stairs, we have this part right here, and this is where you get out to the bar. So this is the outdoor seating area that I made. I think this came out so awesome. The vibe in here is just right. So you've got these little seating areas. You of course have a great view out of Ventia. You've got both the little harbor right here and you've got the mountains. You come over this way, you of course have the bar where we've got some people who've ordered some drinks. I even tried making some peanuts on a plate or something like that right here. And of course all the different drinks you can order from in there. We've got some wine barrels, we've got some honey bottles that could maybe be some other kind of beverage, who knows. I just put a few bottles up there of stuff I have. I think those are just water bottles and some Dragon's Breath. Coming back through here though, this is of course the way you access the bar area, and I made these doors to look like they could be shut because you wouldn't want this to be open all the time. I feel like this would be a pretty good place to work as a bartender. But if we do come back over here, we of course have this entrance to the tavern right here. So if you just come through this little pathway right here, you can get right to the bar if that's what you're looking to do. So there's no need to go through the reception or book a room or anything like that. You can just go straight to the bar and hang out with your friends. But if you do want to stay at the inn, we of course can go to the next floor up here, and this is where we have all the different rooms. And I made both of the sides mirrored here, so we can just check out one. On both of the sides here, we have the mini rooms, the cheapest ones. If you're just coming in over the night, this would be perfect. But then we, of course, have the bigger 3x3 rooms here in the middle, and I think they work just fine. It's so awesome that you can use trapdoors like this. It just makes it so much easier to make interiors, guys. And if we walk up one more floor, we, of course, have the grand suite. We get a bit of a view right here in the tower, but up here, we've got a few beds. We've got a little private seating area here on the other side, but the main attraction is, of course, the balcony up here in the suite. And you've got a pretty sweet view from the suite, I must say. And once I get more of this terraforming done, it's going to be even more awesome. But this is such a great view. But yeah, guys, that is the inn. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. I think this fits in super well right here. It's just the perfect spot to have a tavern right here down by the docks. I do love how this roof just comes sloping down over the terrace. It's such an interesting look. Yep, definite big improvement. And the only thing I would say about it that I guess looks a little strange right now is the fact that it's the only house with a nether brick roof. But by the next episode, I'm going to remedy that already, so it shouldn't feel out of place, and I think it fits in anyway. I don't know. Okie dokie, we are back out of shader tour mode, and let's take a look over here at the suggestion list that I got from stream. Yes, that means we can eliminate tavern. I don't know how many of these we're going to be able to get done in a timely fashion, but I do really want to build an apothecary's house in this area pretty soon. Let's see, is there anything here we can get done super easily? Yep. You know what? Some people, they're just never gonna fit in, no matter how hard they try. But now that we've dealt with the meme sheep, and right before we continue on building the village here, I do have the comment of the day. And last episode, I forgot the comment of the day, so I'm really sorry about that, but we do have a good one this episode, and it reads as follows. Burning Brennan says, "Hey, that was a great video with lots of progress. I also have a question that deals with the more long term. If or when you see Ventia as finished, but you don't want to abandon the world, would you possibly make another large-scale project in the same world, like another country? I'd love to see a large mountainous Asian-styled country, and if you plan on updating this world to 1.17, that height gen increase would be awesome for tall mountains." First of all, thank you, Burning Brennan, and to answer your question, I kind of need to tell you guys a little bit about Ventia. See, originally, Ventia is a kingdom in a fantasy story that I wrote, and I really never planned for anybody to have knowledge of that story whatsoever. But when I started building in this Minecraft world, I had Ventia in mind. It's not even really a very significant kingdom in the story, it just kind of exists. But when I started building in Minecraft, it just felt like the thing I wanted to do. And if you guys want to, we can explore the lore a little bit more in detail of that whole story. It's safe to say that Ventia here in Minecraft has become something a little bit different, but in essence, it is pretty much the same place. It's a mountainous, lush, very prosperous kingdom. And at some point, even though it feels like a long ways away, Ventia will be complete. And honestly, I've been making so much great progress over these episodes. If you take a look at the first world tour video, there's nothing on the mountain here, and this side doesn't even exist whatsoever. So we're definitely gonna get done with this at some point. And so to your question about whether I'm going to start more long-term projects like this, I think it's pretty much inevitable. I have big plans. There's an entire world in the lore that I've written that I kind of would like to build as well. And honestly, it's sort of comforting that Ventia is such a small part of that world, because that just means I have way more I can work on in the future, and it just means my journey in this Minecraft world won't end. So the answer, Burning Brennan, is yes. I definitely want to build more kingdoms, and whether I'm going to build an Asian-style kingdom or not, that remains to be seen. But yes, oh yeah, there's going to be way more stuff in this world, don't you guys worry. And as for whether I'm going to update to 1.17 or not, I have one word for you guys: candles. But ladies and gentlemen of the internet, we are not done here today. No, in fact, I said earlier that I wanted to make some progress over here in this area, and honestly, I think this house right here would be great to knock out. I'm thinking I want to get a few more of these pink roofed houses in here, so that's probably my go-to option here. I already have a ton of the brick ones, so these three won't be brick probably. But you know what? It's been a long time already in this video, so let's try to get to the building ASAP. So without any further ado, roll that time lapse. You heard me, just roll the time lapse. With this house, guys, I did pretty much what I've been doing with all the houses in this area. I try to keep the style of the buildings consistent, and then all I do is change up the palette a little bit. And what I've been doing in this town area is give every house a unique detail. And so for this one, I made this part that juts out of the building, and I'll show you guys exactly what I mean when we get back to first person. But what we're trying to do here is build houses as close to each other as we can possibly get away with and spread that throughout the entire valley. And one thing I've been thinking about is whether or not you guys would like to see me build a few of these houses on camera and not just in time-lapse form. It wouldn't be block by block at all, but I would just go through what I'm thinking about and how I try to variate these houses and make them stand out from one another. So let me know in the comments below, but right now it's time to get back into first person and show you guys what I built, so I will see you on the other side. We have done it, good folks. We have added to the village successfully, and I love how this came out with the magenta and purple. It just stands out so much, and this is what I was talking about, guys, with that part that juts out. If you ignore the chest monster I've accumulated here to my left, I think this actually looks really, really awesome, and it's such a great way to have the house facing this path right here. Also, sweet berries, underrated decoration. Definitely should be using that way, way more like this. But overall, pretty basic addition to the area. We, of course, have this path right here with a pretty epic sightline, I'd say. And even when these houses are built back here, you should be able to see over them and be able to see the castle still. You know, overall, guys, I'm super happy with the progress we're making over here. And speaking of progress, there is a certain thing that you guys really, really want me to do, and that I would love to do as well, but it's going to take a little bit of preparation. See, we've talked a lot on stream about building a giant mine or cave system under the mountain here, and a lot of you guys want to see a dragon hoarding its gold, which is something I really, really want to build, but I kind of feel like I need more space down here to be able to do it. I want to go big with this project. And so this manual digging I've been doing, it's not gonna cut it, okay? So what I plan to do is set up some TNT bombing machines. Never done that before. It might go horribly wrong. Who knows? Hopefully it won't. But expect at some point here that in an intro time-lapse, I will be blowing all this up until there's nothing left but bedrock, so that we can do some awesome building here underneath the mountain. And during the making of this episode with the tavern and everything, I kind of feel like I want to focus on this area and getting it terraformed a lot as well, because I kind of feel like this side right here is the next side that needs some love and attention. But ladies and gentlemen, it's been fun. It's been a good time. but all good things must come to an end, and this episode is no different. I realize I never told you guys to subscribe and like and do all that stuff, so, you know, I guess do it if you want to, whatever. And if you stayed all the way to the end, then you're the champ, and I appreciate your existence. And until we see each other next time, have a good one.